Yo YouTube, what's going on? You already know who it is, your boy Cray, and in today's video we are hitting you with a Rogue Company tier list. We're talking about who's the best, who's the worst in Rogue Company. Now I wanted to wait to do this until Dahlia was released and played with for an extended period of time so people can kind of have an understanding of how to use her in the meta and things of that nature. So that's why things have taken so long in that regard, and I do want to let you guys know this is based off of my own belief and my own opinion. So if you think somebody that I put in C tier should be A tier, things of that criteria, that is totally fine. In fact, let me know what you guys think down below in the comments, if I'm right or if I'm wrong in your personal opinion, and let's talk about it. You know, I love conversation. If you end up enjoying this tier list, make sure you drop a like on the video, hit that sub button for more Rogue Company content to come. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive in. I'm gonna just go in order from left to right. We got our man Anvil. Okay, so Anvil is an area control. I almost called him a Titan. What the heck? He's an area control agent. Okay, places his shield down. He holds lanes. He claps multiple different agents with one clip before even thinking about reloading. Right. Okay, so he has his nice shield he can drop down and again just literally hold an area. Okay, and then of course his passive ability, he does not get stunned and things of that nature by stun grenades and flashbangs. Yeah, I couldn't think of the word. Things of that nature. So Anvil is pretty useful when we're talking strikeout. I mean, he can literally just hold a point and just melt people. We're talking demolition. Again, like I mentioned before, he can just hold the lane. I mean, he's going to be apparent. He's not going to be a stealthy agent like a Ronin or like a Lancer, but he does what he's supposed to do. Okay, I mean, he's a pretty big target in my opinion. But again, I mean, he can lay down some DPS overall. So if I had to pick where Anvil goes, I would say Anvil is a great B tier rogue agent. Okay. Again, you guys might agree with me. You guys might not agree with me. All right. Moving on. Chaac, the homie Chaac that can either self-res himself or juice himself up so he can become a little bit of a tank. He also annoys the crap out of people with his passive ability where he can barrel roll out the way, and he also has more health on the ground and when he's in his down but not out state. Chaac is also pretty good in regards to flanking. I mean, you can still hear him coming. He doesn't have silenced ability like Lancer or anything of that nature, but he's still pretty good when it comes to the flank because he has that shotty that can one tap, and his SMG is pretty darn good overall. Chaac, in terms of strikeouts, fun to play with, not really needed because I mean he's not really a team player. At least with Anvil, kind of jumping back to Anvil, at least with him, multiple agents can hide behind his shield. It can be utilized in that regard. But Chaac, his self-res ability is only for him. Okay, it's only for him unless we're talking Dahlia, which we'll get into here very shortly. So Chaac is fun to play with, but not really useful in a competitive setting. In demolition, again, he's more so, hey, stand your ground type of person. He could be useful in the regard to where if he gets knocked and your team draws aggro, he can hide somewhere, roll out the way, self-res, and get back in the fight. So I do think there is some use in that. But other than that, Chaac, you're not really getting much out of him in that regard. So with that being said, Chaac, I love you, but I gotta put you in a C tier, homie. Gotta put him in a C tier there. Okay, rolling into Dahlia. So Dahlia's been out for, gosh, maybe a few weeks now, maybe a week. I'm not really good with dates and stuff like that. Dahlia is ridiculous in terms of her abilities. So Dahlia has that link close ability, which means if one of her teammates is any one of these agents, she can link with them and utilize their passive ability, which just opens the floodgates, dude. Just depending on how you want to play, depending on your team style, depending if you guys are trying to play aggro, depending if you guys are playing in the competitive scene, she is dangerous. And then her active ability is that person that she's linked with. So let's say, for example, let's say I linked with Lancer, okay? Let's say I link with Lancer. And Lancer's passive ability is whenever Lancer dodge rolls, she reloads her gun, which is cool, right? Let's say I link with Lancer. We're clapping people, we shooting, we dodging the reload, blah, blah, blue, blue. Lancer gets knocked. If I'm within a 30-meter proximity, I can res Lancer. Kind of like Saint, like, so in a sense, she has medic capabilities, okay? Her SMG is disgusting in close range. Her DMR is nice in that mid to long range, so she's balanced in that regard, okay? Dahlia right now is just like if you don't have a Dahlia on your team, especially in a competitive scene, whether if you're playing strikeout, demolition, whatever, what are you doing? What are you doing? I think right now at this moment in time, and again, my own opinion, Dahlia is S tier. No doubt about it. Like, I don't even know how you bring her more so in the balance. I don't think you really should, because again, if you wipe Dahlia, if you take her out of the game, then of course that just is what it is. It's kind of like when you focus a Saint first, so Saint can't drop that healing drone, right? So in that regard, it is what it is. Dahlia, in my opinion, S tier. Okay, moving on here. Dallas, active ability, snap the finger, see the nearest enemy for a period of time, I think 8 to 10 seconds or something like that. Passive ability, when Dallas knocks somebody, he gets his ability charge back. Okay, so that's pretty useful. So knock somebody, you can snap, see the next enemy coming up, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. That's useful. Dallas also rocks a nice little DMR. The DMR is pretty well. I mean, I preferably use it over his AR. His AR has a very slow fire rate, but it does pack a punch. You know, 4 shots to the head, crit, you're dead. So that is very useful in that regard. Dallas can be a good team player. He's good for recon. The only challenge with that is he can only recon 1 rogue agent at a time. So that kind of sucks in that regard, but Dallas can be an aggro recon agent. You know what I'm saying? So if Dallas finds somebody, picks them off, he can snap again, find the next person, so on and so forth. So he's useful in that regard. But if we're talking sit back recon, somebody like Talon, you know, don't really get it done in that regard. So with that being said, I would have to place our homeboy Dallas. Ooh, this is tough. I would have to place our homeboy Dallas in the B tier. Okay, I'm placing him B tier. He's right there, honestly, between B and C, in my opinion, but we'll just give him B tier for the sake of this video. Okay, Dima. That boy Dima got the GL, brow, cause a lot of AoE splash damage, pisses people off in that regard. Passive ability, knocks somebody, and when you knock them, you can see them visibly for a period of time. So you can get a little bit of recon info if somebody's rezzing them, if they get res, things of that nature. Now, Dima has that Mamba, which is that burst AR. I almost say SMG, but burst AR. It might be, no, I think it's an AR. Burst AR, and then he has a nice regular AR. The regular AR packs a punch a bit like an AK-47. Packs a punch, can 4 crit, I believe, to the head. It may be 5 crits. Don't quote me on that. But his Mamba can 2 burst crit. It can 2 burst crit. So not Dallas, what the heck? Dima is a pretty well DPS character. If we're talking a competitive scene, we're talking demolition, sweating it out. Again, not really useful unless your team is an aggro team, right? Unless Dima's pushing up the gut, you know what I mean? Lancer's hitting the flank. Like, unless you're playing with an aggro squad, not really useful. When you're sitting back playing against an equally talented team, he does not really come into play there because you got to play a lot slower, and that's not really Dima's style in that regard. So if we're playing strikeout, have fun. You know, have fun. So with that being said, Dima, love you, dog, but you got to go C tier right next to our boy Chaac. Okay, moving on. Glitch. Glitch surprised me. He really surprised me. Okay, Glitch, the ability, you know, he can go ahead and pull up his little iPhone or Android, whatever you want to call it, you know, pick your poison, and he can find out who's within proximity, and he can disable them. He can disable them from using their abilities, or if there is an ability already on the map, for example, Ronin's ballistic knife, it goes kablooey. You know, Anvil's shield goes kablooey. Get out of here. You know, Glitch is very powerful in that regard, and I didn't pay much attention to him early on when the game released, but now, I mean, he's on my radar. He's 100% on my radar. So Glitch overall, also he can see people's abilities through walls and stuff, so he can see and scope out a ballistic knife and things of that nature. So it's very useful. Shoddy, 1 tap, forget about it. His SMG close range is disgusting. Glitch, my man, we gotta go B tier, homie. Gotta go B tier, man. And I want to give him an A tier rating, but he's only used in countermeasures. Counter and preventative measures per se, you know, within a proximity. So I will give him B, and we'll leave it at that. Okay, Lancer, the homie Lancer. Okay, Lancer, again, used in an aggro setting. Okay, has to be an aggressive setting if you're playing competitive. If you're playing strikeout casual, Lancer's the best in the game. No doubt about it, because her ability, she can go ahead and pop, I call it dead silence. She can pop that, she moves faster, you can't hear her coming. She hits you with a flank, you're done, you know what I mean? And then her passive ability, she barrel rolls and it reloads her gun. So you knock, roll, rinse and repeat. Lancer can wipe a whole team by herself. She can take out a whole strikeout mob by herself. It's ridiculous. Again, not much use in the competitive scene. If you're playing, again, an equally skilled team, you guys got to play slow, then Lancer's a little bit in the struggle box, because both of her weapons are a little bit more close range, her shoddy and her SMG. Her shoddy, of course, has a higher fire rate, so it's nice when you're fighting somebody close range, but you take Lancer to that medium to long range, it's trouble. It's trouble. If she had a long range weapon, she would be A tier for me, but Lancer, I got to put you in the B just because we don't have anything long range. I'm being uber critical here, guys, so stay with me. Okay, Phantom. S tier next. No, Phantom. Okay, let's see what Phantom has. Pulling out the top of my head here. Okay, Phantom has that nice smoke grenade that can dictate where an enemy is if they walk through that smoke. Nice. And also, if you get shot by Phantom, your health regeneration is delayed. Her passive ability, of course. Phantom, great for long range play. Even good for short range play, because her pistol, it's a silenced pistol, and it can 4-tap to the head. It's very easy to 4-tap. It has a fast reload time. Phantom is just deadly, and it's very satisfying to snipe with her. You get a good sniper player, Phantom is going to absolutely wipe the floor with them. She just is, and that's actually scary to think about. I have to put Phantom A tier because she is the only sniper in the game right now. She can control the game from a medium to long range, because people can quick scope with her, and then also her secondary gun is a scope weapon as well. Nobody really uses it, let's be completely honest, but it's still viable. Okay, it's still viable. Okay, moving on, the homie Ronin. Okay, Ronin has the ballistic knife. You throw it, if somebody's within proximity, it explodes, or you can use it strategically. Throw it, you can shoot it, it'll explode and create a little AoE damage effect on people. Her passive ability, she's hitting on the radars, right? So if Talon threw a tactical dart, she can run right through it and you wouldn't even see her. Okay, has a nice SMG that can pack a punch even short to medium range, and then her AR packs a punch as well, medium to long range. No doubt about it at all. I think Ronin's probably the most balanced character in the game. She can wipe teams. She can take out more than one agent at a time with her ballistic knife. I've wiped an entire team before with one ballistic knife. I kid you not. So with that being said, Ronin is legendary in that regard. I think she's the most balanced character in the game, like I just mentioned before. So with that being said, I have to put Ronin in A tier just because she's balanced. She doesn't have any chinks in her armor. I'm trying to really think here. No, she just doesn't. She just doesn't whatsoever. So gotta put the homegirl Ronin in A tier next to Phantom. Keeping it rolling here, yo. 5 agents left. Okay. Saint, the homie Saint, the only combat medic in the game. Okay, he can go ahead and drop his, what's it called? Is it the doc drone? No, that's Lifeline from Apex Legends. He can drop his medic drone and res a teammate anywhere on the map. He has a perk that accelerates his not health regeneration. He has that as well, but accelerate his res ability. Okay, so you can res people across the map with your little robot buddy in 2 to 3 seconds. That's very powerful. In terms of his weaponry, his scoped AR, if you can hit shots, if you can hit crits, 4-tap, 5-tap somebody, they're done, right? I like using his Mamba more because, again, you can 2-burst people with that burst AR. 2 bursts to the head, they're out of here. Saint is pretty useful, especially in the competitive nature, because if somebody gets down, they're behind cover, you can res them and keep rolling. You know, that is incredibly useful. His passive, when he reses somebody, not only does that person that get res gets a little health regen boost, but he gets a health regen boost as well. So if he res somebody with the drone mid-fight, you get him down to 1 shot and they get up, his health is regenerating. You are now in a bad position, homie, especially if that fight was close. okay? Especially if that fight was close. Saint close range really isn't giving you much, though. I'll be honest. His scoped AR ain't going to do it. The Mamba's not going to do it. If you get close range on Saint, he's probably going to sleep. And that's the chink in his armor there. Also, he doesn't have a throwable explosive. He has a claymore, which is useful if somebody's trying to flank, but it's easy to detect it, in my opinion. So, again, the chink in his armor, close range, he might be going down. With that being said, I got to throw my man Saint in the B tier. Got to put him in the B tier there. All right, let's go ahead and keep it rolling here. Let's talk about the homie Scorch. Now, when Rogue Company first came out, Scorch was my favorite rogue by a mile. She was, because I could literally just activate her, what's it called, overheat or heat sink? I can't remember the exact name of it. I could just, and my bullets are flaming, and I would literally just wipe the floor with anybody that even breathed near me. Like, yo, it was absolutely amazing, right? Her passive ability, she's immune to all fire, which is cool. I just believe it's her, Dallas, and there might be one other person that I just can't remember off the top of my head that actually has incendiary grenades. So her ability is kind of like, her passive ability, I should say, is kind of like, nah, you know, it's very, very situational. I would say in a casual setting, in Strikeout or a casual game of Demolition, Scorch is absolutely amazing. Close range, though. Close range, because she has an SMG and a shotty, the arbitrator, which she can one-tap you, I believe even in the body if all the bullets or all the pellets hit, and then the SMG absolutely melts, and if it's flaming, you will not have a chance at all, dude. But where Scorch really falls off is in that mid-range and in that long range. Mid-range, her SMG is decent at best. Maybe if you make the bullets flaming, it's a bit better, of course, but long-range Scorch has no viability whatsoever. And in a competitive setting, Scorch, again, just does not have much viability, if any at all, because, well, I take that back. I will rescind that statement. Like I mentioned several times before, if the competitive team is incredibly aggressive, right, you need somebody to push and you need somebody to take out multiple agents, then Scorch is the homie. Scorch is going to get that done for you, but I just don't really see this being viable. Like when we really see ranked come out and things of that nature, a lot more scrims, a lot more tourneys, Scorch just will not be chosen. She just won't be. She'll be left on the sidelines because she's a for herself character and she's an aggro character. When she's out the game, or even if she's in the game, you don't really notice much difference per se. So with that being said, Scorch, I love you. I love you. I love you, but I gotta make you C tier. If you heard that train, I apologize. But yeah, Scorch gotta make you C tier though. At one point in time, I thought she was S tier for me, and come to find out, yeah, not the case. And again, I apologize for that train in the background. Anywho, keeping it rolling here, Talon, the homie Talon. Now, when I first started, that train is so annoying, man. Just go. Jeez, let me talk. Okay, Talon. When I first started playing Rogue Company, I thought Talon was the bottom of the barrel. I was like, dude, this dude is whack, right? And over time, his viability for me just kind of incrementally kept increasing. You know what I'm saying? Just kept climbing, kept climbing, kept climbing. And now I believe Talon is almost a necessity to a degree, okay? To a degree. There are definitely workarounds, but Talon is great. Talon can be nasty in that close to mid range with his SMG. His DMR can work that mid to long range, of course. His ability, he has his little dart. I call it his Talon dart. He goes ahead and he throws it on a wall. And anything within a certain radius, you'll see come through, unless, of course, it's a Ronin. You'll see that person come through and they'll be highlighted on the mini map. So it's very easy to give information. You can see if the other team is clustered. You can see if they're spread out. If only you get one ping, of course, you know they're a little bit more loosely spread. Things of that nature. You get a lot of recon info based off of what Talon can do. And his passive ability, Mag Gloves, means he can pick up guns, grenades, and even his dart from a certain distance away, you know? So if you clap somebody and you run out of ammo because you were absolutely on a tirade, then I can just go ahead and use the force, aka his Mag Glove, pick up a gun that I see on the ground and get busy with it. Or I've done this in some situations where I can get a nade just by using his gloves. Give me that Simtex nade, throw it, touchdown. I clap 2 or 3 people from that one explosion. And side note, my dog is absolutely going crazy. So if you see him in the camera, just know he's just being real silly. But overall, I think Talon is very, very useful. And again, somewhat of a necessity, especially again in the competitive scene. We're talking demolition. We're talking you're competing against some of the best rogue player companies. Whoa. Rogue company players in the world. You need to get as much information as you can because these guys will be set up. They'll be holding lanes. That dart can make or break a round. So with that being said, crazy. But I'm going to put my man Talon in the A tier category. I just have to. Because again, he's balanced. He can play close, mid, or long, depending on the person, depending on the gun you choose. He has the ability to grab somebody's gun, grenade, or his dart back from almost anywhere. Like, Talon just overall is incredibly balanced. And to me, an A tier character is incredibly balanced. Like, there's no chinks in the armor. And I believe Talon fits in that category. Okay, 2 agents left. Trench. If they had an F tier, I would have put Trench in the F tier. But after seeing some of these Rogue Company early tournaments and seeing how people utilize Trench for area control and just for his ability to be able to carry multiple, not necessarily even explosives, but multiple throwable items, for lack of better terms, I think Trench is pretty useful, right? He has the trophy system, which is incredibly useful. So if somebody's spamming nades or anything, we can wipe that out. His barbed wire, after the recent buff to that, now your teammates can walk through the barbed wire without any issue, and the enemies can't. You can hear them when they walk through it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's very useful as well. You can slow down enemies. You can catch them out in the open, things of that nature. Trench is pretty useful in that regard. Trench's AR is more of a slow fire, heavy hitting AR, which, you know, you guys know how that go. I would say you would never want to play that close, but I would say play that mid to long, and that could be very useful. You could really get busy in that mid to long range with Trench's AR. Just overall, I think Trench is a better character than I gave him credit for. And Trench, I apologize to you for that, man, because gosh, I gave you so much flack early on. But seeing how you work in competitive play is just amazing, man. Now in the casual setting and Strikeout, or maybe a casual game of Extraction, whatever, Trench, well, Extraction is different, but more so Strikeout. Trench is a little bit more for the slower player. He's just going to hold point. He's going to kind of sit back, again, try to do that area control thing, which I think is good. I think it has its purpose, but in that setting, he doesn't really quite get the job done long term, really. So that's his chink in his armor per se. But I have to just give credit where it's due. Again, Trench is the only person in the game with the trophy system, I believe. Don't quote me on that. Saint doesn't have trophy system. He has Claymore and smoke grenades. But I believe he's the only person in the game with the trophy system. And now my dog's whining, so I'm going to give my dog some pets. But overall, Louis, what do you think Trench should be? What do you think? Okay, I think that makes sense. I will put Trench in the B category because he does not have many weaknesses at all in that regard, okay? Now, final character. This is my favorite character, so no, there will be some bias to this. There has to be, right? Vi, my homegirl Vi. So Vi's passive ability, leeching poison, whenever she drops her active ability, right, which is these poison barrels, and when an enemy steps in that poison barrel, for every maybe quarter of a second they're in it, they lose 2 health, right? Permanently. They can't get that back until they die and respawn, or if you're playing demolition or extraction, until the next round. And that 2 health goes to Vi up until Vi has a max of 125 health. Now, if that isn't gangster, I don't know what is, okay? That makes for some great area control overall. Some great area control. If an enemy is pushing the lane, I could throw that barrel and we got them shut down for at least 10 to 15 seconds. And I know where their location is unless they're smart enough to rotate out of there. But I can just shut it down just like that at the step of a fingers. Not to mention you get 2 of those throwable barrels that you can release. And it recharges at a pretty efficient rate, so those things can keep going. You stack that with her incendiary grenade, which is just amazing. She's not immune to fire, of course, but it's just great to use when you're trying to have some splash damage, some AoE damage, or you're trying to, again, continue to control an area. Her AR Nightshade, to me, is probably one of the best ARs in the game. I love it. It's incredibly accurate, very quiet. People don't even know they're getting pelted by it to some degree. And my dog is doing some silly stuff, okay? it's just great. Her shotgun is similar to Lancer's shotgun, a little bit slower fire rate, but it packs a punch and it can even hit people mid-range. I've 3 or 4 tapped people mid-range with that thing before, which is crazy. She has a perk she can get that allows her to reload her weapon per every knock you get. Like, Vi is just amazing, and I just think she's underutilized by a lot of people. She can lay down damage, she can control area, she can even be utilized for flanks. If you don't believe me, watch my Vi and her shotgun is OP video, because I flank and squad wipe a couple of times in that strikeout. She's just overall just amazing. She can area control on the fly and she moves around. If I wanted to be a rapper, I would have rhymed fly with Vi, but I missed that opportunity, whatever. But overall, I just really don't think the only place where Vi loses is in incredibly long range fights. But almost any rogue agent loses in incredibly long fights or long range fights overall. But I think Vi is just the truth, and people just don't use her adequately. Now, I know Vi would probably be in a lot of people's A tiers, but for me, again, I main Vi. I gotta put Vi in that S tier, man. And honestly, I think you guys watching this video, after hearing what I just said, you guys, Vi might be in some of you guys' S tier as well. I mean, probably at worst, some of you guys is B tier, but she should at very minimum be A tier though, honestly. But just because I love Vi, I'm putting her S tier next to Dahlia. I just have to. So this is my Rogue Company tier list. Do you guys agree with it? Do you not agree with it? The thing I love the most by doing this, now mind you, I did no prep prior to this video, is look how many people I believe were B tier. A couple people C tier. This lets me know that the game is in an incredibly balanced state. There were other games that whenever I would do tier lists for mentally, there will be a couple people D, bunch C, B, bunch S, but like, you know what I mean? Like, this is just really clustered. Not too many people are OP. A lot of people are very balanced. Not too many people are underwhelming. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's amazing. High Res, I appreciate you guys. Scott Gandhi, man, you're the truth, man, for making this all come together. Love you guys' transparency. Do you guys agree with my tier list? Let me know down below in the comments. If you don't, let me know why you don't. Let me know where you think certain people should be, all that beautiful stuff. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Until then, we out. Peace.